Okay.
Hello, Terry. How are
Good
you
morning,
doing?
Linda. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see you.
Likewise.
When I reached out to you to chat, and you had the greatest topic, I thought, to chat about, which is basically staying engaged with our friendships later in life and how important that is to our well-being. So, do you want to introduce yourself and then talk a little bit about this topic and why it is of interest to you?
Sure. So my name's Terri MacDonald. I'm an Arizona native, and I have three grown sons and three amazing grandchildren. I've had my own business for about 15 years now, doing marketing, and I love gardening and I love painting. And a lot of those are solitary activities.
I think your
My,
background shows us your artistic and gardening
oh,
ability.
thank you. Um, yeah, I spend a lot of time alone, and I do like a lot of my alone time. I work from home, although I'm engaged with my clients a lot. It's still a lot of solitary time, and artwork can be solitary too, and gardening, although I never feel alone in the garden, I have to say, never feel alone there. But I've noticed I haven't retired yet, but I'm looking forward to that. And I've noticed some of my friends who have retired seem kind of lost, and some of them have not kept up with personal connections, with friendships. And of course, I feel very fortunate to have family, but those peer-to-peer relationships are so important too. And it's, I love being around younger people. I think that's important to keep that vitality around you. But I also love being around people my own age or older. There's a comfort in looking at someone else who is aging like you, and you know they are going through the same kinds of things. And I have a very dear friend who we've been close since high school, and so we're talking about almost a 50-year friendship. And being able to grow old together with a friend is it's priceless. It's priceless to have that connection. And I think it's so important to stay engaged with other people. I think it's important when you get an invitation somewhere, take it if you can. Go to those birthday parties, the weddings, don't turn them down just because you don't feel like it. It's maybe not convenient. Push yourself to make the effort and strengthen those connections so you're not sitting home alone watching TV. And instead, who knows what kind of openings you might find, what kind of new connections and friendships. And I know I you had invited me to a retreat last year. I was hesitant at first. I didn't know anybody but you, and it was going to be a 4-day retreat up in the mountains, which I love. But I was hesitant, but I decided I want to meet some new people. I want to make some new connections. I'm going to push myself. And I did. And I met an amazing group of women I feel so grateful for, so grateful to be part of. And I'm so glad I gave myself that little shove, because it would have been so easy to sit at home and not go.
I can totally relate with you, Terry. First, I want to just say that I was camping this past weekend with two of the ladies from last year's retreat, and they were so excited to hear you're coming again to this
Oh, thank
year's
you.
retreat. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But I wanted to ask you because I am, and although I feel like I kind of have a balance and I've kind of taught myself to be more extroverted, but in general, I am an introvert by nature. And so I wanted to see if you can kind of relate with this, that I am a bit of a homebody. Like I like the solitary gardening or doing art, although I'm not an artist like yourself, but doing art is very nourishing to my soul. And doing those things alone, taking a walk in the woods, I love being alone. But so I also have to kind of force myself to say yes, say yes, say yes, because there's always that effort and pushing you out of your comfort zone of what feels good and natural. But then I'm always pleased that when I do say yes, right? There's always something beautiful that comes out of it. And nurturing these friendships over time is so worth it in the end. So can you relate to that? I assume you're also an introvert by nature.
Oh, absolutely. And I do need that solitary time, and it nourishes me and it's important to me. I can easily get overwhelmed. So I have to be careful with that too and give myself time. Um, when I was a little girl, my nickname was TC, and I often envision this little girl that I'm still taking care of. And so when I need time for me, I call it TC time. And sometimes I need TC time.
I love that.
Just to take care of that
Yeah.
inner little child, you know. But I do love, I don't feel alone in the garden. I don't feel alone when I'm doing artwork. I love to read. So yeah, I totally relate to that. I had a painting group that I was going to that I'm hoping to reconnect with. And it was wonderful because we would all paint ourselves and paint solitary in a way. You know, we're each working on our paintings, but we were all in the room together. And it was a very supportive group, as I found with especially older people. I think we tend to be more supportive of one another. And so we would go around and maybe comment on one another's paintings, but having that time and space together and, you know, a minimal conversation, but still we would all show up every week. We would show up for each other. And I really looked forward to that every week, and I miss it. And with the gardening, I mean, that's my happy place. But I recently joined the East Valley Gardeners Club Facebook page because I'm learning from that. And even that virtual camaraderie I find valuable. So I think there, even though we enjoy our solitary things, there are ways to have those connections that don't have to be real intrusive, but just supportive and enjoyable.
So I have heard a lot of health practitioners talk about, you know, sometimes it's like the top 5 facets of health or the top 8 facets of health. And, you know, along the lines of like exercise and diet and sleep, you know, all the things we know of that are really important to our health. But over the past so many years, lately, this facet of community support or social interaction always ends up, you know, in line with diet, exercise, sleep, you know, all of these really important things. And, you know, centenarian studies have shown that, you know, these centenarians have always relied very heavily on community and friendships and extended family being around them, you know. So so it is really important, and especially not just with pandemic, but just how our lives are today. You know, we don't live with extended family. A lot of times they're not even in the same city or state. And so we do have to try to build this community around us. You know, I know a lot of people, we live in Arizona, and, you know, even a lot of times neighborhoods don't really connect with each other, the neighbors. You know, we have these block walls around our houses and things like that. So we do have to make an effort to build these things. And I'm so glad that you brought up your weekly art group, because I've been getting messages. I'm up north here in the summertime, as you know, for several months. And at our community center, they're doing these weekly either playing cards, or now they have this bring your project, like whether it's crochet or what have you, and just come and sit together as a group and finish your project. So
Lovely.
I have been trying to think of something that I could bring to do. You know, I'm not really an artist, but that's really the only thing I could really think of, is to come up with an art project that I'm going to work on, because I don't crochet or, you know, quilt or anything like that. So, but you're encouraging me
Oh, good.
to figure out a way to connect with those ladies.
Oh, I think we're all artists. And even if you brought something that you found in the forest and um, I don't know, I've got a zillion ideas, Linda.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know that nature sparks your interest,
Yeah.
and I could see you doing a nature art project that could be really fun.
I'm always looking for things where I don't have to be like a true artist to do artwork.
We're all true artists. We really are. You just have to,
We have to find our thing.
yeah, or not so much find it as let it emerge.
Okay, there you go. I like that. Okay. So what do you think about that, you know, the studies with just how much community and friendship is so important to our health and well-being, like you know, not just so that we don't feel alone as we get older, but you know, maybe as a stress relief, or we, you know, see women going through similar issues that we are, that we can relate with. I mean, I think all of that is so important, right?
I do too. I think it's key. And um, I think it becomes very apparent that your mental health, and that certainly includes your social connections, that really helps keep you healthy overall. And I have you know, some people I know who are lonely, and I've read about an epidemic of loneliness. And I think especially for older people, that loneliness can be so destructive and painful. Um, and it doesn't need to be that way. We have so many opportunities. One, if you can't think of anything, and almost every community has a library, and libraries are doing, at least the ones that I know about, are doing wonderful things to help people have that sense of community that we're so lacking in our country in so many areas, which is a shame. Other cultures, other countries do a much better job of inclusivity. But the libraries, if you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, every week they have programs that, you know, just some topic you can go listen to with interest, and maybe you'll start up a conversation, but at least feel part of something. I know I live near Changing Hands, one of the country's best independent bookstores. They constantly have speakers come in, and it's just a chance again to engage with people, something that you might be interested in. So those opportunities are all around, and I think it's so important to find them. And I think loneliness is very destructive.
Yeah, one of the things my husband and I did when we moved into our current neighborhood is we live in this neighborhood where the houses are kind of set back. And so the only time you see your neighbors is like when they're driving by and you just wave.
Yeah.
And so we started to organize potlucks, kind of like a happy hour potluck kind of a thing. And it was a great way to get to know your neighbors. And up north, up here, one of our neighbors just started to do it as well. So we're actually hosting the potluck this Friday. So every 2 weeks this summer, we've been holding, not us, but one of the neighbors has been hosting the potluck. And it's a great way to meet people. And from that, I actually found a pickleball group to play with. And I wasn't really a pickleball player, but they just kind of encouraged me. I was a tennis player when I was young and encouraged me to try it. And I love it.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
awesome.
I'm building some strong friendships up here, which I haven't done. This is our 5th summer up here, and we've been kind of secluded. Of course, 3 years of the pandemic didn't help matters, but now I feel like we're getting out there and, building some friendships. So it's really nice.
That's wonderful. And I think, that's all it usually takes is just opening that door, just that one step of connection, and it can open up all kinds of wonderful opportunities that just expand your horizons. So your life continues to expand and grow instead of contracting as you get older.
Yeah. And there's things like we've been getting a lot of rain up here this month or the past few weeks. And my husband's like, it's supposed to rain on Friday. What are we going to do? We don't have a lot of covered patio area. And I'm just like, we're just going to go with it. We're just going to see what happens. If we have to cram everyone in our kitchen, then so be it.
Great.
You can't, I think what I'm getting at is we can't wait until something's perfect to take that step or say that yes. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I love to host parties, and I'm terrible at it. I'm like, I'm stressed, nothing's ready. I'm terrible at it, but I host, I usually do Easter, and I do it every year. And I get a little bit better every year, but I am so thrilled when people show up. I'm just so happy, and they're very forgiving. So I keep doing it, even though this is not something I'm very good at, but I want that. And it brings me so much joy.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're so appreciative of you being that conduit of bringing people together, right? Because somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, somebody has to do it.
Oh, yeah, this is such a great topic, and I so appreciate your wisdom in it. I think both you and I can relate with you. I think we're both people that, feel comfort staying home and reading that book. But we see the benefit when we do say yes and we do reach out and take initiative and make those efforts. And, I'm not sure if all of the listeners understand, as an introvert, I'm not sure that extroverts really understand that introverts, when we do get out there at a party or interacting, a lot of social interaction, we actually do need alone time to kind of replenish ourselves. And whereas an extrovert, they actually get replenished by going to these things, right?
Right.
So it does take effort and energy, and it takes our reserves as we do these things, even though we see how nourishing they are, to build those friendships and connections. But we do need that alone time. So even going on this little camping trip with 2 women, that was very relaxing and out in nature. I still need to come home and kind of get my solitude again, because there's so much social interaction that happens that it does deplete me to a certain point.
I totally understand that. And even this conversation, I'm getting to know you better, and connecting with you in ways we haven't connected, even though I've known you for so many years. So I really appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, how great is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I as well. Me too. And even at the retreat, we're gonna have 9 ladies this year. And sometimes it with that many ladies, sometimes it is harder to get those deeper connections with individuals. So yeah, just this, how long has it been? 20 minutes we've been chatting, and how great it's been to get to know you better.
Likewise. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes. I think our listeners will find a lot of benefit, because I think a lot of women our age, are going through these things, and maybe we gave them some tips and helpful tips to get out there more and say yes. I know that you've inspired me, so I think we've inspired others.
Oh, I hope so. Thank you, Linda.
Yeah. Thank you, Terri.
You're welcome. Good to see you.
You too.